So this is God creating Adam from the dust of the earth outside of the garden. Yeah, Adam was created outside of the garden and then placed in the garden. Eve, on the other hand, was a native, the first native to paradise, while Adam was the steward. I, I, I'm doing this a little bit just to a dig at the Christian nationalists because they don't serve God. They think they do. They don't. They serve a book, but they don't know God personally. So that's why they don't think about these things. And the reason I started thinking about this is because, all through the Bible it talks about the bridegroom and the lamb. Jesus is the bridegroom. Yet in Revelation, you have here in the middle of this verse, then came one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls full of the seven last plagues, and spoke to me, saying, Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great high mountain, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, its radiance like a most rare jewel, like a jasper, clear as crystal. Eden. It's Eden. That's why, for a long time in Revelations, for so long, I thought for sure that the woman that comes down from heaven, that's on the moon, wrapped in the sun with the 12 stars, I thought, oh, that, the Catholic Church ran that's Mother Mary. No, it's not. Any way they can worship Mary, that's what they do. Because it's a different religion, just like the Christian national. They're all wolves in sheep's clothing. A bunch of Christian denominations. But anyway. But no, it's actually Eden. That's what it represents. The woman coming down with the sun, being wrapped in the sun and standing on the moon. That's Eden. That's paradise. Because God's reuniting. And I was asking AI about this because, I was challenging AI because I'm like, well, if you just go with Paul's writings, which, it's woman submit to the man. And it's like, but you're a bride too. You are. What they like to say is the church is the bride. I hate it when they say that because the first image that comes to mind is a structure, a building, and that's not what Jesus came to do. I always replace church with believers. That's what I do. Because that's how easy they twist, you will get twisted in Scripture, is because of stuff like that. Jesus was never building a structure. So church implies building to me. No, just say believers. Just look at it that way, because that's what the church is to God. It's not some building. So I was asking AI because, everybody says, well, the church is the bride. No, the believers are. So that means there's a bunch of you Christian nationalists, not that you're saved, but if you are, you're a bride. How do you reconcile that with your masculinity? You're a bride. It's because they don't think about these things. They don't. So I was asking, because Paul, and I've never said to disregard all of Paul's writings. See, my thought process here is that because the last book of the Bible talks about anybody who adds or takes away from this, will be given these plagues. That implies to me that God's kind of telling you people are going to toy with the writings. So he's letting you know, except if you know him on a personal level, if you follow the shepherd's voice, he'll keep you on the right track with it all, which was the key. That was the key, because just think, he was calling out the scribes because of their playing around with stuff, coming up with their own laws, okay? So this was always going to be the problem, which is why, you know, the miracle of everything, the way God did it, was that with the Spirit of God being here, it's what made you the church. That's what you were to follow. But Christian nationalists and men that just want their construct, that we all have to be on the same page and don't want to consider other things here, have gotten a whole bunch wrong because they're too busy worrying about being on the same page with everybody. Because when they have that mindset, it's because, oh, we have to keep control. No, God wanted people to be thinking about these things and going to him with it, and he would lead them in the right direction. So Paul did talk about that there's a mystery here, and I think this is what the mystery, much of the mystery is this whole bridegroom. And yes, it's the lamb is the bridegroom, but as I showed here, it's not referring to Jesus, or the lamb is the bridegroom. Come, I will show you the bride and the wife of the lamb. Well, the wife of the lamb is Eden. And it would be seen as a bride to Christ because Eve was the first native in his paradise. I understand that Adam was placed there, but he wasn't a native. Because there's a reason. This is how God was going to be like, no, they're all equal. So no matter how much you all want to try to get around this, you're not getting around it. The distinction fits your Eden typology. Adam's outsider dust enters as a steward. Eve emerges native born from his side amid paradise, prefiguring birth from Christ. I'll confuse people. So basically the whole point is that it's all about coming back into union with God, which is why many women, mostly women, have the personal relationship with God. It's been like that since Jesus came. Now they like to say that Gen Zers are going to surpass women. Do you see? This is what these people do. It's all about some competition. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to have a bunch of Gen Zers, if they follow Charlie Kirk, just sitting in the pews, not knowing God, when God already, because of getting rid, if you saw my last video, because of purging this generational toxicity of the masculinity, because it got purged through the millennials and definitely Gen Z, and they have the actual natural masculinity that has nothing to do with this, men being above women and all that. God already had them created to where, because that toxic construct was gone that Charlie Kirk was trying to put in place, they already had that natural ability to have a relationship with God, to understand it. See, the very reason throughout history that man has not been able to understand why women have this personal relationship with God is because of the very construct they put on themselves, the toxic masculinity. And that's what Charlie Kirk was about. Well, he said that feminism was toxic. No. I mean, it can be as toxic, don't get me wrong, but no, it's a result. That was the curse, was the toxic masculinity. So it's all about God wanting to be back in union, and the bride here is Eden, and bringing the believers back into Eden. And so it's why it's represented very much like a female. It has nothing to do with Mother Mary. It really has to do with Eve. She was the first native to paradise. So that should put to rest all of this men being over women stuff. Just gets old because nobody sits back and really goes to God and thinks about what God has given us in His Word.